Hello, Namaskar. Welcome to KOS News. I am Mithul. Today's headlines. Anurag Thakur felicitates chess prodigy R. Pragnananda. Ready for Jammu and Kashmir elections anytime now. ISRO launches India's Kakatiya Olympiad solar mission from Sriharikota. CCI approves Air India Vistara merger deal. Indian Defence Ministry to replace Microsoft OS with Maya. The greatest harm to Kathak's portrayal has come from Bollywood. Japan has started releasing treated wastewater into Pacific Ocean. Anurag Thakur felicitates chess prodigy R. Pragnananda. Indian chess prodigy R. Pragnananda was felicitated by Indian Sports Minister Anurag Thakur for his commendable performance in FIDE World Cup 2023 and his achievements in the sport at such a young age. Thakur praised Pragnananda for his achievements and acknowledged him as an inspiration to many young players. Pragnananda was also recognized by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who congratulated him for his brilliance in the World Cup. The Indian chess prodigy won a silver medal in the FIDE World Cup 2023 and also qualified for Candidates 2024 recently. The 18-year-old wonder boy, seen as a possible successor to the 5th-time world champion Vishwanath Anand, and remains firmly on the path to chess greatness. He is the only Indian player after Anand to book a spot in the Candidates and had previously beaten Carlsen in an online tournament last year.
Ready for Jammu and Kashmir elections anytime now. Center to Supreme Court. The Center informed the Supreme Court that it is ready for elections in Jammu and Kashmir at any time now. Though no specific timeline for restoring the statehood status to Jammu and Kashmir could be provided. Solicitor General Tushar Mahata, representing the Center, stated that elections in Jammu and Kashmir would be held in 3 stages, starting with Panchayat polls, followed by municipal polls, and finally Legislative Assembly polls. The process of updating voters list in Jammu and Kashmir is underway and is expected to be completed in a month or so.
ISRO launches India's Aditya L1 solar mission from Sriharikota. The Indian Space Research Organization (ISRO) successfully launched Aditya L1 solar mission from the Satish Dhawan Space Center at Sriharikota in Andhra Pradesh. PSLV C-57 rocket carried the Aditya L1 orbiter, which is designed to study solar winds and sun radiation in almost all wavelengths, along with various energetic particles and magnetic fields. The Aditya L1 spacecraft will travel about 1.5 million kilometers over 4 months to a larger grain point, where gravitational force balance reduce fuel consumption for the spacecraft.
CCI approves Air India Vistara merger deal. The Competition Commission of India (CCI) has approved a merger between Vistara and Air India, potentially making Air India the country's largest international carrier and second largest domestic airline after Indigo. Singapore Airlines (SIA) will acquire a 25.1% stake in the new entity, with Tata Sons owning the remaining 74.9%. The merger approval came after months of scrutiny due to concerns over competition in the aviation sector, as Tata-owned airlines would have a majority market share in several domestic markets and significant presence on key routes.
Board exams twice a year. Studying one Indian language for class 11 and 12 students compulsory. The Ministry of Education announced that board examinations will be now conducted twice a year. In line with the new education policy NEP, students will have the flexibility to retain their best scores from the exam. This change aims to make board exams easier by assessing students' understanding and achievement of competencies rather than relying on months of coaching and memorization. Additionally, students 11th and 12th classes will be required to study 2 languages, with at least one of them being an Indian language.
India Defence Ministry to replace Microsoft operating system with Maya. The Indian Defence Ministry is replacing Microsoft Windows with a locally developed open source Ubuntu based operating system called Maya. By replacing a widely used international operating system with a made in India one, the Indian government aims to prevent malware attacks and other cyber threats, thereby safeguarding critical defence infrastructure. Notably, India has witnessed a rise in cyber attacks, including a recent incident that compromised the servers of AIIMS Delhi, with suspected connections to Chinese hackers.
Our Prime Minister took a tour of Japan, Australia and Papua New Guinea. Prime Minister embarks on a visit to Hiroshima, Japan for the G7 summit on May 19 to 21st, 2023. From there, PM Modi will embark on his maiden visit to Papua New Guinea for the third summit of Forum for Indian Pacific Islands Cooperation. From there, PM Modi makes a two-day visit to Sydney at the invitation of Australian Prime Minister and President. Modi's three-nation tour has been transformed into a high-level event. During the visit, the Prime Minister will have a bilateral meeting with the Prime Minister Albanese on May 24, 2023. Previously, he was scheduled to participate in the Quad Leaders Summit in Sydney. But on Wednesday, Australian Prime Minister Albanese announced the cancellation of Quad after the US President postponed his trip to Australia to focus on the debt ceiling negotiations in Washington.
The greatest harm to Kathak's portrayal has come from Bollywood. The commercial cinema has always portrayed it in a debauched manner, forgetting its original temple roots and historicity, says Padma Shri Shovana Narayan. Padma Shri Shovana Narayan's name is synonymous with Kathak, but the dance exponent has added another feather to her cap as an actor, director and writer. Durba Sahib's film Avartan. The film explores the tradition of Guru Shishya Parampara, where the Dion plays a Kathak Guru, Guru Bhavna Saraswati. She talks about the experience of acting in a film, the tradition of Guru Shishya Parampara in today's context, and her views on commercialization of traditional dance forms by Bollywood.
Japan has started releasing treated wastewater from the Fukushima nuclear plant into the Pacific Ocean, with operation expected to last decades. The water will be diluted until tritium levels fall below regulated limits before being released. The wastewater stored in around 1,000 steel tanks has been treated to remove isotopes, leaving only tritium and relatively harmless radioactive isotope of hydrogen. The Japanese government signed off on the plan 2 years ago, and it was again a green light by UN nuclear watchdog last month. The discharge is a key step in decommissioning the Fukushima Daiichi plant after it was destroyed by the tsunami in 2011.
Manufacturing is emerging as an integral pillar in the country's economic growth, thanks to the performance of key sectors like automotive, engineering, chemicals, pharmaceuticals, and consumer durables. The Indian manufacturing industry generated 16 to 17% of India's GDP pre-pandemic and is projected to be one of the fastest growing sectors. The machine tool industry was literally the nuts and bolts of the manufacturing industry in India. Today, technology has stimulated innovation with digital transformation, a key aspect in gaining an edge in this highly competitive market. In the sphere of manufacturing, India has traditionally been focused on domestic production and consumption. Challenges included a price-conscious market, underdeveloped infrastructure and supply chains, and a leaning towards labor-intensive processes owing to the availability of low-cost labor and technology being expensive.
Thank you for watching KOS News. Stay tuned for more updates.